Chapter 2 The Machine. On June 18th, 1973, Mariah was working late in her cluttered office, surrounded by frames and concept art for various characters. The air was thick with creativity and a hint of chaos, as sketches and designs from different projects mingled. Among them were a few newer characters that had recently been accepted, including a shy, angelic demon named Star, who was introduced as Bendy's younger sister. There was also Carly, a fresh addition to the Butcher Gang, an intriguing blend of personality and mischief. However, one particular concept, a raven named Alethros, had faced rejection multiple times. Maria had deemed him unnecessary, especially with the Butcher Gang causing enough trouble for the other toons. As she glanced at Star's character design, Maria felt mixed emotions. With her broken horn, halo, feathered wings, and a cute dress, Star was striking and memorable. A true embodiment of contrasts. Given her angelic demeanor, Maria imagined Alice would be suspicious of this character, as demons rarely embraced such heavenly traits. Shaking off the distractions, Maria focused on her current task, cleaning her workspace and sorting through the frames. Thankfully, the finished frames were numbered, making the organization process smoother. She took a moment to appreciate the slightly more organized workspace, but soon her eyes drifted back to Alethros' concept sheet. Picking it up, she examined the image of the raven dressed in pants and suspenders, and the feeling that the character was unnecessary grew. With a frustrated sigh, she crumpled the paper and tossed it into the trash, ready to move on to clearing her workspace. Returning to the stack of frames on her desk, Maria noticed a sharp sting in her finger and grimaced. She must have gotten a paper cut while discarding Alethros' concept sheet. Opening the drawers, typically filled with medical supplies, she felt a wave of dismay as it was empty. Maria sighed, exasperated. Guess I'll have to go brave the downstairs just for bandages. To the elevator. She rose from her chair and pressed her finger against her palm, feeling the sting intensify as she navigated through the dimly lit halls of Archgate Studios. The deep navy wallpaper felt heavy, casting shadows that seemed to linger just a moment too long. Suddenly, the lights flashed and flickered ominously, and a distant rumble of thunder echoed outside, causing Maria to jump. As she approached the elevator, she was surprised to see Audrey there. "Oh, Audrey, what are you still doing here?" Maria asked, tilting her head in curiosity and confusion. "I just came to grab some coffee from downstairs, Mir," Audrey replied, worry creeping into her voice as she noticed the blood on Maria's fingers. What about you? I thought I was the only one working late tonight." Maria glanced down at her slightly blood-stained fingers before meeting Audrey's gaze again. "Well, I wasn't exactly planning to head downstairs either, but it seems I've had a little bit of an incident, per se." She chuckled awkwardly, hoping to lighten the mood. The elevator dinged and the doors slid open. Audrey stepped in, urging Maria to follow. But just as they prepared to close the doors, a pair of hands suddenly pried them apart. It was Wilson Arch, the janitor. with disheveled white hair and a receding hairline that made him look almost spectral. His blind right eye glinted strangely, giving him an unsettling air.
Room for one more?
He croaked, his voice he dripping with an underlying menace. Maria and Audrey exchanged quick, nervous glances as he squeezed into the elevator with them. The doors closed tightly, sealing them in the narrow space. Suddenly, a jolt sent them lurching, and the elevator grounded to a halt. Red emergency lights bathed them in a sickly glow, the alarm blaring mercilessly. While Audrey's panic was palpable, Wilson remained eerily unfazed.
Another power outage. I see.
He murmured, his lips curling into a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes, making Maria's skin crawl. He reached an arm, tapping the control panel as if it could somehow reassure them. After a moment, they were jolted again, and the elevator resumed moving, only to stop at the nearest floor, the memorabilia of Joey Drew. Wilson shuffled out ahead of them, almost dragging Maria and Audrey behind him. The room was steeped in darkness, but with an unsettling familiarity. He flicked the lights on to reveal a collection of artifacts from the infamous Joey Drew studios. He surveyed the room with a scrutinizing gaze, his expression a mask of obsession.
Someone's been tampering with a museum.
Wilson noted, his voice dripping with unnerving intensity.
You two, my dear ladies, could you please assist in finding what belongs on these pedestals?
Audrey and Maria exchanged glances filled with skepticism. Yet Wilson's strange authority compelled them to nod in agreement. Audrey began to rummage through the nearby shelves as Maria turned to examine a curious machine Wilson was inspecting. An uneasy shiver coursed through her. Okay, we need a bendy plush, a vinyl record, a gear, a wrench, and a we need a bendy plush, a vinyl record, a gear, a wrench, an inkwell, and a book? Mara said, piecing together what she'd seen on the plaques of the empty pedestals. Audrey hummed in agreement, glancing around warily. Where on earth were they going to find a gear in this place? Just then, Audrey reached into a power box and triumphantly pulled out a gear, a flicker of relief mixed with distress on her face. Are you sure that doesn't go to anything important? Maria asked, her voice low. Probably. Audrey shrugged, her expression half-hearted as she wanted nothing more than to escape. Maria's eyes drifted back to the inkwell she had spotted earlier. She approached it cautiously, giving it a light shake, and was surprised to find some ink still sloshing inside. Nearby, she saw a book titled The Illusion of Living by Joey Drew. She couldn't help but feel a strange pull toward it. Amused yet perplexed by the title. Odd title for a memoir, she thought. As she returned to the pedestal, she gently placed a book and an inkwell in their spots. Audrey had contributed by placing a record and a plush toy on the pedestals, and she pulled and as she pulled a rusty wrench out of a lever, it seemed they were almost done. Just then, Wilson sauntered back over in front of a machine and a glint of enthusiasm in his unsettling smile.
Now, dears, pull the lever.
He said, his voice low and hypnotic as if he were conducting a strange ritual. Despite the shivers creeping down her spine, Audrey grasped the lever and pulled it with a mixture of trepidation and curiosity. In a heartbeat, Wilson slammed the door behind them, sealing them inside. The room darkened as ink began to seep from the cracks in the walls and the machine. The atmosphere thickening in an eerie sense. In a heartbeat, Wilson slammed the door behind them, sealing them inside. The room darkened with ink as it began to seep from cracks in the walls and the machine itself. The atmosphere thickening with an eerie sense of dread.
This is it.
Wilson intoned, his voice reverberating against the walls, each word heavy with foreboding.
Come find me to find your true purpose. And now we die.
Mari felt a surge of panic. No, this couldn't be happening. Before she could react, Wilson forced them into the ink, pulling them as shadows swallowed the light. Everything went black, dense, and suffocating. Mara couldn't tell if she had died, but in the depths of that darkness, a gravelly voice pierced through the silence like a dagger.
A new soul, trapped in this shattered cycle. How valuable will you prove to be to me? Rise.
That was the last thing Mariah remembered before jolting awake on a wooden floor, gasping for air and choking on a thick black substance. No, it wasn't just any black substance. It was ink.